Alright guys, welcome to what we're going to do tonight. Welcome to Wednesday night. I know it's really late. So what we're going to be doing is we're going to be opening up 50 booster packs of IKORIA. And also we're going to go over a quick guide on how to build your collection up. So that is what we're going to be going over. So first off, I want to start off by saying that on MTG Arena, they do offer every single time before a set comes out, they do offer for $50 you get a planeswalker, and you also get 50 booster packs. Now, what most people don't know, before I jump into the booster packs really quick, is that instead of drafting, when you open up a booster pack, you get rewards. So for every 6 booster packs you open, you get a free Mythic rare wild card. So this is how I build my collection. I'm able to go to Mythic status instead of just playing in drafts, because this really allows you to build your collection. So if you are drafting, this does not count. Your drafting does not, the packs that you open in your draft do not count towards your rewards. So for every 6 booster packs that you open in your pack section, you get a free Mythic rare wild card. You get a free rare wild card. For every 30, you get a Mythic rare wild card. So watch, let's open up packs. You tell me it's worth it, but let's bust into IKORIA. So even you can see in our booster pack, we get a free automatically a free uncommon wild card. So right there, it starts to automatically just pay off. As you can kind of see. So right there, it just starts to pay off. So then you start looking at everything else. So our first rare is Death Oasis. So whenever I'll go over some of these cards kind of quickly, then we'll speed up. So whenever a non-token creature you control dies, put the top 2 cards of your library into your graveyard. Then return a creature card with a lesser converted mana cost than the creature that died from your graveyard to your hand. Then, of course, you can sacrifice Oasis. You gain life equal to the greatest converted mana cost among creatures you control. So, again, really good to build your collection. So again, notice when I open up a booster pack, this does not count when you draft. Only when you open up booster packs. See, I'm 1 pack away from getting a Mythic rare. A free Mythic rare wild card. So that means I can go and get any rare Mythic rare wild card in the game. This is how you build your collection fast. So watch. I'll open this booster pack. Boom. Watch. See? Right there. So that's how it's done. So this booster pack, again, we're going to go going through 50 booster packs, and you can see if it's worth it. Again, Wizards offers this for $50 before each pre-release. You get 50 booster packs and a planeswalker, and is it really worth it? Well, to build your collection fast, yes. It beats drafting, in my opinion. So our rare is Umari the Collector. So companion, each non-land card in your starting deck shares a card type. Kind of hard to be a companion at that point. It says, as it enters the battlefield, choose a card type. Spells you cast of the chosen type cost 1 less to cast. So, not bad. So again, you can see. So for now, every 6 packs that I open, again, this does not count towards draft. You get a free rare wild card. That's why opening up booster packs is really important. Drafting, you don't get this reward. So, all right, so let's go on to pack number 3 out of 50. So again, you can see now I'm down to 5 packs to be able to get a free rare wild card. And then we're going to build some decks. By the way, feel free to subscribe. I'm going to be opening up a live physical mystery booster box. I'll be giving a card away to a subscriber to do that. So you can go ahead and you might want to subscribe for that. All right, let's see what our rare is. And see how that just happens? So even when opening up your booster packs, you can open up a Mythic rare wild card. So again, on top of the rewards that I just gotten, I also get, in my booster pack, a Mythic rare wild card. So that means I can get any Mythic rare that MTG Arena has ever printed. So that could be for Historic. So again, and this pack came with a common wild card. So do you see why it's so important to open up booster packs? Sometimes as opposed to drafting, to doing your drafts to build your collection. Is this starting to make sense for you? Okay, so yeah, and notice, there we go. There's my, I have 142 common wild cards, 155 uncommons, 10 rares. That's how you build the decks. So that's how you go from drafting to building your collection, in my opinion. Let's move on. Let's go to pack number 4. Okay, so some of the uncommons right here is Exuberant Wolf Bear. I'm sure, you know. So, when this thing enters attacks, you may change the base and power of toughness of target human you control to this bear's power and toughness until end of turn. And then we got Majestic Oracorn. 4/4 Vigilance. When this creature mutates, you gain 4 life. That's good and limited, maybe. Let's see what our rare is. Crystalline Giant. Okay, this is one I haven't really come across. At the beginning of your combat of your turn, choose a kind of counter at random that Crystalline Giant doesn't have on it from among flying, first strike, death touch, hexproof, pretty much everything. Put a counter of that kind on Crystalline Giant. Very interesting. Let me kind of read that. Some of this wording, at the beginning of combat of your turn, choose a kind... Okay, so you can pretty much just make this thing just keep on just getting bigger in an artifact stack. Think about... Was it Metal Overseer? Yeah, that'd be a good card to work with. Alright, where each artifact gets +1/+1. So you notice that now... You start to notice, and also, by the way, too, yeah, for every 6 that you open, on top of for every 6 booster packs you open, you get a rare wild card, but you get an uncommon wild card. Yeah. So, I'll just graze over the commons. You can kind of look at those, and you can kind of see if it's worth it. You be the judge. Let me spend my money, and you can be the judge of this. All right. Yeah, search your library for up to 2 basic land cards. Put them on top. Put them on the battlefield tapped. That's okay, I guess. And we hit another wild. So, you see, within the booster packs, you can't do this when you draft. When you draft, you can't get wild cards, and they don't go towards your rewards. Do you see why opening up booster packs are just so vital in building your collection? So again, I have 11 rare wild cards as opposed to 8. Now do you see how I'm able to build my collections pretty quickly? Okay, got it. So your gold, right? For each gold, each booster pack costs 1,000 gold. So again, so here we're gonna go. All right, so let's dive into pack number 6. Notice again. All right, our uncommon is Lore Dracus. You can mutate it for 2 hybrid. Whenever this creature mutates, return target instant or sorcery from your graveyard to your hand. Okay. That'd be crazy if it had flash. Alright, this thing's got cycling, it's got death touch, it's an 8/8, you know, for 8 mana. Whenever you cycle this, put a death touch counter on target creature you control. Very good in limited. I'd say that's a pretty good card in limited. Alright, let's go to rare. And this thing that I have drafted, so you can go ahead and look at the drafts that I've done. I've put them in a playlist. You can go ahead and look at the live drafts. Alright, whenever one or more creatures you control with trample deals combat damage to a player, you create an XX green dinosaur beast creature token with trample, where X is the amount of damage those creatures dealt to that player. So basically, if you have, like, say in this case, a 6/6 trample, and you're able to hit your opponent for 2 with a trample, you'd get a 2/2 trample dinosaur beast creature token. Yeah. Alright, so let's move on. Let's go go through here. Again, notice I only have 1 more pack to get a free rare wild card. Okay, so my uncommon is a Sprite Dragon. It's got flying and haste. Whenever you cast a non-creature spell, put a +1/+1 counter on Sprite Dragon. Cool. I get an uncommon wild card just in the pack in itself. Alright. I'll talk about Vault Progress in a second. Okay. Alright, this guy's pretty good. We'll call him the Orphan Guard. So this is a card that I plan to use in our Simic, or our Teamer Elemental deck. I was able to play in the Early Access event, but I was not able to live stream it. I was invited by Wizards to do that. So if you don't know my background, I played Magic since 1994 as a little kid. I still have my DCI Arena card from the 1990s. That's kind of crazy, actually. Alright, so this card is each creature card in your starting deck is a cat, elemental, nightmare, dinosaur, or beast card. So for our Teamer deck, for our Simic Teamer deck that I had in the Early Access, really good deck, by the way. this card for elemental, so you don't use this as your companion. You don't have to. You can put this in your deck. You don't have to use it as your companion. You can draw it if you want to. And then it says each other creature you control that's a cat. We're interested in elemental. Gets a +1/+1, it has +1/+1, and has vigilance. So that's what we're interested in. Okay, so far, was it worth it? All right. So again, I'm up to 12 rare wild cards. All right, so I'm just going to go over this really quick. Back for more. Return target creature card from your graveyard to the battlefield. When you do, it fights up to one target creature you don't control. I don't know if I like that last ability. Sanctuary Lockdown. Humans you control get +1/+1. So think of this as like a crusade for humans. All right, so let's open this up. And we got the ozolith. This thing can get crazy. So let's read this really quick. When a creature you control leaves the battlefield, if it had counters on it, put those counters on the ozolith. At the beginning of combat of your turn, the ozolith has if it has counters on it, you may remove all counters onto target creature. So think about creatures that you can, like Yarvo, where it comes into play with 4 +1/+1 counters. You can flip this over, put the counters on this artifact, and then put these counters on another creature. So you can kind of really start to have a big counter deck. I believe there's an enchantment that if you have, for every +1/+1 counter you put on a creature, if you have 20 or more counters, you win the game. It's in the Simic colors. I forget what it is. Okay, so again, we're going to go ahead and we are just going to keep on opening up booster packs here. So our uncommon is Sonorius Howlbonder. It's got Menace. It's a 2/2. Each creature you control with Menace can't be blocked except by 3 or more creatures. So it's like Menace +1. Alright, and here's this Mamba. Whenever this creature mutates, target creature opponent controls gets -2/-2 until end of turn. And here is our commons. Let's look at our rare. Mythos of... Have fun pronouncing that. Alright, destroy target non-land permanent if it's a creature or if it was spent to cast a spell. So, it's pretty cool. Basically, yeah. I mean, it's not a bad rare. Okay, let's move on. Shall we? Let's do this. This thing's a little crazy. Auspicious Starix. It's a little auspicious. So, it's mutate ability. Whenever this creature mutates, exile cards from the top of your library until you exile X permanent cards. Where X is the number of times the creature has mutated. Put those permanent cards onto the battlefield. So that can get crazy in a limited mutative deck. I've seen this card. Look at my live stream. We've gotten beaten down with this card pretty heavily. I was like, oh, this card kind of stinks. And then you play verse it and you're like, yeah, it's pretty good and limited. It's really good. All right, draw 4 cards, cycle 1. It's okay. You remember Torrential Gearhulk? Back in the Kaladesh Amonkhet days. Yeah, where you can cast a sorcery or instant spell for free from your graveyard. This could be used in Pioneer. Pretty boon of the wish. Look up Torrential Gearhulk and then look at this card. Alright, let's see what our rare is. That was loud. Alright, Doom of Depth. So this card's talked about recently. Companion, your starting deck contains only cards with even converted mana cost, but let's dive deeper. Whenever, we'll just say this, enters the battlefield, each player puts the top 4 cards of the library into their graveyard. Put a creature card with an even converted mana cost from among those cards onto the battlefield under your control. Yeah, so that can get a little crazy in a lot of formats because that allows you pretty much to free cast. And if you look at cards like Snapcaster Mage in Modern, you even dive deeper to where you have much faster mana acceleration. So this could be a really, really good card. In Standard, you have to have even cards for this to be your companion, so I could see a Simic deck running this because it is hybrid colors. I don't know though. It's kind of hard, but yeah, that can be used. All right, so let's go ahead and go into pack number. What are we into 11? All right, our uncommon is Idatha Crystal. You can basically add a white, a black, or a forest, and you can cycle 2. So that's pretty good. General Enforcer, legendary humans you control have indestructible. You can pay 4. You can exile a target card from a graveyard. If it was a creature card, create a 1/1 human creature token. Okay. Let's see what our rare is. Well, okay, so we get one of those kind of lands that you can add 3, comes into play tapped, and of course you can cycle for 3. So we see these in a lot of control decks or Fires of Intervention decks. A lot of Fires decks now will play 4 to 5 colors instead of the 3 Jizaki. I see that quite a bit. And we're going to go ahead and I'm going to keep on live streaming probably Friday until we play Jeskai Fires, which I play versus a lot. For some odd reason, I'm matched up a lot. And we are going to beat Jeskai Fires. It's my goal. I want to be matched up versus the top 8 decks. If you notice a theme, I like to play versus top 8 decks. Yeah. All right, so let's move on. Let's keep on trucking along through our packs here. In this pack, we got an uncommon wild card and a common wild card. This card is just awesome for a second. I just want to speak about it really quick. Yeah, so Volpeaked, probably just butchered the name. But this mutative creature is really good and limited. Watch my drafts. We get beat with it, and we beat people with it. Whenever this creature mutates, put a +1/+1 counter on it. So basically, how mutate works, basically for the most part, you want to have your creature, well, whatever creature goes over the card, that becomes a creature and it hits all the abilities. So this is a really good card because you can give a creature flying and then +1/+1. So if you just have like an innocent, say 5/4. You can make that into a 6/5 flyer pretty quickly. All right, then our uncommon is Migration Path. You can search your library for up to 2 basic lands. I thought we already looked this and put it on the battlefield tapped. Okay. Our rare is a Planeswalker, and we'll just call this Coppercoat Outcast. Okay, so this one's pretty good. Exile the top 3 cards of your library. It's +1 ability. Creatures, cards exiled this way gain. You may cast this card from exile as long as you control so as long as you control this Planeswalker, you can +1 it. It's kind of like Chandra, Torch of Defiance kind of thing. You can just exile it, but you exile the top 3 cards, making this much more rampable. It's -2 abilities. Exit target creature you control. Then reveal creatures cards from the top of your library until you reveal a creature card with higher converted mana cost. Put that card onto the battlefield, and the rest. This is where the card gets insane because you can literally put this card out and then have Agent of Treachery in your deck. So Agent of Treachery is that one card where you just steal creatures or steal permanents. Yeah. That's what this card is used in. So Grace's Control. So like blue, black, and red. I'm seeing this heavily played in those decks. And this is such an undervalued Planeswalker. And then its -7 ability is each creature you control deals combat damage equal to... The text is so big here. To each opponent. Or so let's read this again. Each creature you control deals damage equal to its power to each opponent. So let me stop right here for a second. Let me go to the decks really quick. We'll get right back to the packs. I haven't lost sight of that. Let's go into... I have a lot of decks here. Let's go into this. I'm going to show you what I'm talking about with that Planeswalker, because I think it helps you guys understand. So look at Agent of Treachery. Hopefully this is loading. Okay, so whenever Agent of Treachery enters the battlefield, you gain control of target permanent. So think about that Planeswalker we just opened, where you keep on exiling a creature until you get a creature with so you get rid of a creature that you have on the battlefield, and you fetch for a creature until you get a creature with a higher converted mana cost. Well, since Agent Treachery costs 7, it's probably going to be the highest casting cost creature in your deck. So you can just exile a creature and fetch for one of these. And then you could, like, copy it by quasi-duplicate. That'd be a great Scrabble word. Quasi-duplicate, where you create a token of a copy of target creature you control. So, yeah, just an idea for you. That's, like, pretty good. All right, let's go back to the booster pack action, and let's crack open another pack. Boom. All right, and we got a Savai Crystal. Yeah, you add Mardu colors. This is an easy prey. Destroy target creature with converted mana cost 2 or less. Eh. All right, what's our rare? Yidaro Wandering Monster. So this thing I've seen played very limitedly, but it's seen constructed play. All right, it's an 8/8. It's got trample. It's got haste. It's for 7. You can cycle it for 2. Whenever you cycle this monster, shuffle it into your library from your graveyard. If you cycled a card named, we'll just say this, Yidaro Wandering Monster, 4 more times this game, put it onto the battlefield from your graveyard instead. This could also be in the same deck that I just told you in. You could have Agent of Treachery in this and just get an 8/8 haste trample or Agent of Treachery. Or you just keep on cycling this until you get into something. So there's a lot of interesting interactions that... so now we are going to get another rare wild card. Okay? You can see right here I have 12. That'll be up to 13 as soon as I open up this booster pack. This is what you don't get in drafts, guys. And girls. So there you go. Alright, so for this right here, we got Reconnaissance Mission. Whenever a creature you control deals combat damage to a player, you may draw a card. That's a pretty mighty fine uncommon. In fact, I would speculate that if this card was printed 5 or 6 years ago, this would be a rare. Alright, and here's a Rooting Malach? I don't know. Enters the battlefield, exile a target card with a cycling ability from your graveyard. Until the end of your turn, you may play that card. Alright. See what our rare is. Lurrus of the Dream Den. I see a lot of people using this as their companion. Each permanent card in your starting deck has converted mana cost 2 or less, but during each of your turns, you may cast one of permanents with converted mana cost 2 or less from your graveyard. So, think of it as... So, it's kind of like for like a creature-based deck. Like, think about Death Touchers. You know, all of like the 1/1... Like, they just keep on recurring, coming back to the battlefield, and you can just kind of override. And just imagine some enchantments that do buffer up your creatures that give them +1/+1. There's so many of them in the game that you can build a pretty solid creature-based deck with a lot of commons and uncommons, and throw in a couple rares that boost up your creatures, that give all your creatures +1/+1, and you have this in there. A creature dies, it comes back. It's a madhouse. I've seen this card used quite successfully as a companion in a low curb creature deck. So pretty good. Alright, so do you think it was worth it so far? Alright, we're going to keep on opening up the booster packs right here. We get Blitz of Thunder Raptor for 2. This card deals damage to target creature or planeswalker equal to the number of instant or sorcery cards in your graveyard. If that creature or planeswalker would die this turn, you exile instead. So, good for Is It. This card's good and limited. When it enters the battlefield, you put a menace counter on a target non-human creature you control. Then pay 3, tap it, put a +1/+1 counter on each you control with menace. So it's a good ramp card. Wow, we open up 2 of these. Pay attention to that. I don't really have to go over this card because we have already done that. So let's just move on. And as we do that, you'll start to notice my vault progress starts to go up. And you're saying, what the heck is a vault progress, man? Or dude. Or whatever. Alright, so what vault progress is that once you hit 100% vault progress, I have 335.6%. That's neither here nor there. Once you hit 100%, you get 1 mythic rare wild card, you get 2 rare wild cards, and 3 uncommon wild cards. You say, okay, well, how do you get to 100% vault progress? Well, so remember I have 335.6%. See how that went up to 335.9? See how I just kind of just leapfrogged up there? All right, so what happens is that in MTG Arena, there is no monetary value or value of having beyond a playset of commons, uncommons, or rares, or mythic rares. You can't trade them. So what they do is reward you for having more than a playset, or having more of 4 of one card. So for each card that you open in a booster pack and or a draft, so this counts as draft, your Vault Progress counts as draft, counts towards your drafting. These rewards right here do not. These are only for booster packs that you open, like as in here. But for Vault Progress, which is up here, for each card, I figured out, I kind of cracked the code. So for each common that you have beyond 4, beyond a playset, you'll get 0.1% towards your Vault Progress. For each uncommon beyond 4 that you have, you get 0.3% towards your Vault Progress. And for each rare, you will get 0.5%. And typically when you open up a mythic rare, they'll just give you 20 gems for free. That's how it works. All right, so let's see what our rare is. Oh, and speaking of... So now, so far in this draft alone, besides the rewards, I've gotten... How many? I've opened now 2 rare wild cards and 1 mythic rare wild card. On top of the rewards. You see why opening up booster packs is rewarding? How many times did I say reward in this video? Quite a bit. Wow. So you can build your... For $50 for each set. Not each month, just each set. This could beat buying the Mastery Pass, guys. That's what I'm trying to show you. Alright, so... Right up here. Alright, so this thing is a Mystic Subdual. Alright, it's got Flash. You enchant a creature, and that creature gets -2/-0 and loses all abilities. Kind of annoying. Personally, my opinion, underwhelming. This right here, Primal Empathy. Let's read this card. At the beginning of your upkeep, you draw a card if you control a creature with the greatest power among creatures on the battlefield. Of course, if you're playing Simic Ramp, that's going to be you, which is going to be us. Otherwise, put a +1/+1 counter on target creature you control. So, a draw ability with, if you don't, you get a +1/+1 counter. Is it worth Simic Ramp in a budget build? Yes. In a really good build? No. Okay, but a budget build? Absolutely. It gives you draw ability. You're going to have the biggest... It's a fun card to play with. I think it's really good for that. And we get a Gem Razor. It's got Reach. It's got Trample. It's got Mutate. And it also says, when this creature mutates, destroy target artifact or enchantment an opponent controls. It's a 4/4/4/4. It's just a good card. It's just... I mean, if you don't mutate it... I mean... It's just such a good card. Would I play it in Simic Ramp? Absolutely not. Great in Limited. And could be a fantastic card just to play with, especially in more of a budget build. Alright, so we're moving on. We're diving into the packs. Right, meow? Alright, so this card right here is a Barrier Breach. Exile up to 3 target enchantments. And this has Zogif. We already went over that, right? And then we just kind of... Really good common that they brought back into Magic the Gathering. Just anticipate. Look at the top 3 cards of your library. Put one of them into your hand and the rest at the bottom of your library. It's a Brainstorm for 1 additional mana. There's my favorite mutating common. Alright, let's look at the rare. Okay, so we open another rare wild card. Okay, so that is 3 rare wild cards. Correct me if I'm wrong in the comment section. I have 3 rare wild cards. And now a mythic rare wild card, so yeah. You see how you build your collection pretty quickly? So, alright, so let's look at this. Here is the Jeskai crystal, where you add a blue, black, or excuse me, a blue, red, and white. This right here is a Jubilant Skybonder. It's got flying. Creatures you control with flying have spells your opponents cast that target creatures cost 2 more to cast. Yeah, so this will have a place in a Skies deck, a Flying Skies deck. Kind of a deck that's kind of lost. Used to be a top 8 deck back in Eldraine Standard. Yeah, a while ago. All right. Here's some of our commons, then our rare. Fiend Artisan. Okay, so this thing has a lot going on, so let's kind of go over that really quickly. Fiend Artisan gets +1/+1 for each creature card in your graveyard. Okay. You can pay X in hybrid of black or green. Either one. You can sacrifice another creature. You can search your library for a creature card with converted mana cost X or less. Put it onto the battlefield. Then shuffle your library. Yeah, so again, you can kind of see how I told you with like Agent of Treachery and all this other type of stuff. So after you've like brought Agent of Treachery on the battlefield, you take their creature. You can actually sacrifice their own creature. So watch. Let me go back into this again. I'll get back to opening up packs. Don't worry. These are just some ideas for you. Tossing out there. You're picking up what I put down. So basically, you can drop down Agent of Treachery. Steal one of their creatures. Gain control of their target permanent, and then you could sacrifice it to that fiend, and then voila, you can get another creature with convert. Or you could just use a lot of cards. You can use Act of Treason. We'll just type out the card right here. I think if I show you the cards, you guys will be able just to process it much faster. So Act of Treason, you can just. You can also play like a Radkos deck. Gain control of target creature until end of turn. Untap that creature. It gains haste. So you can grab their creature, smack them with it, then use that fiend, sacrifice their creature, and then you go find a creature in your deck and put it onto the battlefield. That's a pretty good combo right there. How about Claim the Firstborn? You could do the same thing. Gain control of target creature with mana cost 3 or less. Now this would be a much lower creature, of course, casting cost. So just kind of brewing some of those things over, you can kind of see its relevancy. So we're just going to go right to the packs. Oops, right to the packs. All right. Boy, this is played in Simic Flash. Spells with Flash cost 1 less to cast and cannot be countered. That might be one of the best Flash cards printed. Seriously. It's a 2/2 for 2. It's got Flash. And yeah, that's pretty insane there. Alright. And I'll just go over the commons, just so if you're new or you're thinking about... Alright, so let's... Skycast Sovereign. Alright, basically, so very good in Limited. We've played versus it in Limited. We played with it with Limited in our drafts. You can go ahead and check that out. Skycast Sovereign gets +1/+1 for each other creature you control with flying. Pay 4, create a 1/1 white cat bird creature with token with flying. Okay. Yeah. Alright, so we're kind of getting through this pretty quickly here. And again... keep on unloading on those wild cards, the uncommons, the commons, building your collection. All right, we get the Sultai Crystal. Gem Razor, our second one. We've already went over this card, so we're just going to move on to pack 28. We're almost halfway through here. Here's uncommon. We already went over Migration Path. We've already went over Blitz of the Thunder Raptor. Alright, just grazing over some of the commons if you want to see that. Thieving Otter is pretty good actually. It's a really good common. When it deals damage to an opponent, draw a card. So give this flying, like with a mutated creature, and that's pretty good. You have a flying creature that when it deals damage, you draw a card. So that's a really good common right here. One of the better commons in the entire set, I believe. All right, let's see what our rare is. And it's a Labyrinth Raptor. It's got Menace as a 2/2, so that just screams Radkos right off the bat. Whenever creature you control with Menace becomes a block, defending player sacrifices a blocking, sacrifice something blocking it. So, and then other creatures you control with Menace get +1. So basically, you're really having your opponent pay a premium to block a creature. Now think about the Radkos creatures, the black and red creatures that are in Radkos. And now think about adding this into that deck. Pretty nifty. Well, alright, so we're going to open up a pack right here. Alright. Uncommon is a Avian Oddity. You can cycle it. It's a 2/4 flyer. Whenever you cycle it, put a flying counter on target creature you control. That's really good in limited. Really, really good. So again, if you're playing limited and you have that otter card, whenever it deals damage to a creature, draw a card. You can cycle this, give it flying, smack your opponent for 2 in the air, and draw a card. And it says sacrifice a creature, weaponize. The monster deals 2 damage to any target. I don't really see this getting played. I don't, honestly. Alright. And this thing, the Genesis Ultimatum, so let's just go over this. Look at the top 5 cards of your library. Put any number of permanent cards from among them onto the battlefield and the rest into your hand. Do you think we might be playing this in our Teamer ramp deck? Do you think this has a spot for it? Yeah. You think people with Fires of Intervention play with this? They do. Yeah. And you're saying, well, gee golly, it cost 8 mana to get to. Or excuse me, 7. So does Agent of Treachery. So does Nyx Bloom Ancient. Right? No, Nyx Bloom... Yeah, Nyx Bloom Ancient cost 7. Yeah. You can get this out. We'll make it work. Alright, next up. Oh, next booster pack up. Let's see what we can rip out of here. So far, we've opened up 3 rare wild cards, 1 mythic wild card, just in opening up booster packs, and then I think we've gotten 3 more rare wild cards in rewards and 1 mythic wild card. So anyway, moving on. This thing right here, Thumping Gnar. Basically, whenever this creature mutates, create a 3/3 beast creature token. It's an okay card. This right here, again, we went over that. I'll go over the commons really quick because I'm... Alright. And again, this is what I'm talking about with it, when you have like a... One of the weaknesses to red is that it can't fly. But remember that one mutate card, that white card that's a common that gives a creature if you mutate flying? This is the perfect creature to give flying to. So remember that that creature I said it's one of my favorite common mutated cards in the set. When you grab that white card and you put it onto this, you'll get a 6/5 flyer. So you can make red-white into a flying deck. Pretty cool, huh? Alright, so... And then we get this guy again, right? This big monster, where if you cycle it 4 times, it comes on the battlefield as an 8/8 trample, and there's a lot of ways to get this out. So, moving on. Alright, so we're now halfway through. Alright, and then we get the Teamer Crystal. So we're getting all the crystals there. Alright, here's the commons if you want to see them. I can't assume that everybody has seen all the cards, so I will spend a little bit of time on these, just letting you kind of just see what you're getting yourself into. A lot of destroy artifacts enchantments, huh? Yeah. Okay, so this thing is Glagla, the Titan Ape. It's a ape. It is legendary, so yeah, we play this in limited, so go look at the drafts. When it enters the battlefield, it fights up to 1 target creature you don't control. It's a 7/6, pretty beefy. Whenever this attacks, you destroy a target artifact or enchantment defending player controls. Again, a lot of artifact hate. I mean, just in this booster pack alone, destroy target artifact. Destroy target artifact or enchantment. No, by the way, when this attacks, destroy target artifact or enchantment. Pay 2. Return target human you control to its owner's hand. And then this gains indestructible until end of turn. Notice it doesn't say, so it says human you control. Okay. I'd say that card would be crazy if you can return a human you don't control. That'd be nuts. All right, so we're going to move on and notice that I open up an additional pack. We get a free reward right there. Bam. So indirectly, you get a lot of value. Here's Footfall Crater. You chant a land, and then if you tap the land, target creature gains trample and haste until end of turn. And then here's the Sprite Dragon. I already went over it, but it's probably been so long, so I'll talk about it again really quickly. Whenever you cast a non-creature spell, put a +1/+1 counter on Sprite Dragon. Really good card in a limited. What's our rare? Can you guess? What do you think our rare is going to be? Are we going to get a wild card? What's your guess? All right. So destroy target non-land permanent. If it's a creature, or if green and white was spent to cast a spell. All right, so we are going to move on. And notice if I open up 6 more booster packs, we get a free Mythic wildcard. And again, I cannot understate this. You do not get these rewards when you draft, when you're playing a draft. So when you open up 3 booster packs when you're drafting, this does not count towards your rewards, but it counts towards your vault progress. Notice my vault progress is going up. All right. And right here, we get a Flame Spill. Deals 4 damage to target creature. Excess damage is dealt to that creature's controller instead. So it has some value there. Oh, by the way, people are wondering, what the heck do you do with a Glimmerbell? It's a jellyfish. We won with this card. Yeah, you mutate this up and make it so big. You attack with it, then you untap it. So you attack with it as a attacker, you untap it as a blocker. Pretty nifty. All right, so we're going to go ahead, crank this up. Colossification, enchant creature gets... so basically, this is big. So when Colossification enters the battlefield, tap enchanted creature. Enchanted creature is +20/+20. Do I really need to talk about this card? It's just good. All right. Okay. Fight as 1. This is uncommon for 1. Target human you control gets +1/+1 and gains indestructible until end of turn. Notice it's not a counter, it's till end of turn. Target non-human creature you control gets +1/+1 and gains indestructible end of turn. So basically, you pick a creature, it gets +1/+1 until end of turn and indestructible. Or if you have 2 creatures out, one's a human and non-human, then you get double. And this right here is target creature. Wow, so if you open up this booster pack, you're like, a lot of target creaturing gets bigger. So I guess you'd be playing green and white, because you could just ramp up your creatures in power and toughness. Target creature is +7/+7 until end of turn. Up to 1 target creature blocks this creature if able. So, all right. Really? So now we've opened 2 mythic rare wild cards, 4 rare wild cards just in opening up the that's outside of rewards. So had you just open up these booster packs, it start like you see how you can start just building your decks. It's just, yeah, so that's what, 2 mythic rare wild cards and then 4 regular rare wild cards just through the booster packs themselves. That's crazy. I think we're going to set a record here. All right. Okay, Hornbash Mentor. Whenever it enters the battlefield, put a trample counter on target non-human creature you control, then pay 3, put a +1/+1 counter on each creature you control trample. Right? Again, look at the boon of the Wish Giver and Torrential Gearhulk for Pioneer. Our rare is Death Oasis. That was that's the first rare I think we opened, right? I'll read it again. Whenever a non-token creature you control dies, so it has to be a non-token, put the top 2 cards of your library into your graveyard. Then return a creature card with lesser converted mana cost then the creature that died from the graveyard to your hand. So, it's a recurring to your hand, but that's really good. So, again, we have these themes here that you can kind of intermingle. I'm interested to see what the next set offers, because there's got to be further interactions with these cards. That'd be very interesting to see. All right. Well, we're just getting a lot of crystals here. We got the crystal that produces a white, black, and a green, and then we get the one that produces the teamer colors, the green, the blue, and the red. And our rare is Offspring Revenge, so it's got Mardu colors. So at the beginning of your combat, on your turn, exile target red, white, or black creature card from your graveyard. Create a token that's a copy of that card, except it's a 1/1 against... that's... Guys, so just think about all these interactions. Like, honestly, you can, like... So you're not thinking about big creatures here with this card. You're thinking about creatures that have really good abilities. So... So, really good ETB abilities. So, cards that have really good enter the battlefield abilities. This card would be a go-to in a Mardu build. All right. We got 20 packs to go. This is an interesting common in limited. When a creature you control mutates, put +1/+1 counter on that creature and you gain 2 life. It's not bad. Mythos of Vidrock. Okay, so this deals 5 damage divided as you choose among any number of target creatures and or planeswalkers. So pretty good for getting rid of those like 1/1 pesky little creatures. If you're playing Jeskai color, so if you pay a blue and a white with spent to cast a spell until your next turn, those permanents can't attack or block, and their activated abilities can't be activated. So that's a nice way. You're able to shut down 5 of their creatures if you're playing Jeskai colors, basically, is what you're able to do. All right. All right, then we get a free Mythic wild card from our rewards. Here's our pack. This one's an interesting card. Swallow Whole. Or Swallow Whole. Okay. As an additional cost to cast this spell, you tap and untap creature you control. So you have a creature that's untapped, you tap it. Exile target tapped creature. Put a +1/+1 counter on target tapped... excuse me. Let's exile target tapped creature. Put a +1/+1 counter on the creature tapped to pay the spell's additional cost. So it's a great way to get rid of one of their creatures and add some bonus to yours. It's a cheap removal spell, basically. And this is a second Gem Raiser. All right. Alright, here's Thundermane. Whenever you cycle a card, you may pay 2. If you do, it deals 2 damage to target creature and you gain 2 life. It's not bad. This is not bad in limited. Bristling Boar. It can't be blocked by more than one creature. I believe this was in... Wasn't there one in War of the Spark or M20? Kind of like very similar to this. Yeah. This is good in limited. Add 1 mana of any color. Spend this to cast creature spells. And in limited, you're pretty much casting creature spells, so it's pretty good. Alright, then we just get a land that produces a lot of stuff, so there we go. I'm going to open up this one pack and then take a minute break after this. Here's Glowstone Recluse. So whenever this creature mutates, put 2 +1/+1 counters on it. and a creature can gain reach. If you want to see how mutate works and you're having trouble with companion, look at my drafts, watch them. You'll see how everything interacts. And this is what I was talking about with that one card where you can only have, where like each turn you can grab a creature card that costs 2 or less and put it on the battlefield from your graveyard onto the battlefield each turn. Well, to bolster your creatures up, you can give a human deck, your humans get +1/+1. That's what I was talking about earlier. So go replay that part of the video and then come back to this and then you'll see. This is just a dirge bat. It's a bat. It's got flash. It flies. It's a 3/3. Mutates for 6. That's a pretty high cost. Whenever this creature mutates, though, you destroy a target creature or planeswalker an opponent controls. So it's a pretty good value card in limited. Not too valued in constructed, in my opinion. But, you know, everybody has opinions. So, like, for a great example, you can have the Otter out. So when it deals damage to an opponent, draw a card. And then you can mutate it. And you can give the Otter flying. And then, of course, then when you'd mutate this creature, you would kill a creature or planeswalker an opponent controls. You'd give this Otter flying. And this Otter would then, when it deals damage, you draw a card. So that's how, like, mutate. You can kind of, like, really just make your creatures pretty big. This is an awesome card, Light of Hope. Choose one, you can gain 4 life, destroy an enchantment. A lot of enchantment hate, right? A lot of enchantment hate. And then put a +1/+1 counter on target creature. So it's a main deck versatile card because it does everything. I mean, it's just like, hi, I'm here. Here's some hope. All right. So I'm going to open up one more booster pack. Take a minute break. All right. So we have a mysterious egg. Whenever this creature mutates, put a +1/+1 counter on it. I haven't seen people really utilize this, I'm not going to lie, and I really wouldn't know how to utilize it, and I'm not going to lie to you about that one either. This thing, Insatiable Hemophage. Whenever this creature mutates, each opponent loses X life, and you gain X life, where X is the number of times this creature has mutated. I believe in a draft video, somebody actually used this on us. I played so many matches, I can't remember. Our rare. Bam! Okay, emergent. So search your library for up to 3 multicolored cards with different names and exile them. An opponent chooses one of those cards. Shuffle that card into your library. You may cast the other cards without paying their mana cost. Oh, Sultai ramp control like with Nisa who shakes the world. You know, we can tap each force for 2 mana. Yeah. We're not going to be playing with this card. I don't see in the foreseeable future, but yeah, it's got some value there. All right, guys, let me take a minute break. I want to see how this is uploading to YouTube because I have no idea. So let me see that part. I'll be back in about 1 or 2 minutes. I'll be back. Alright guys, I'm back. I'm thinking this is up on YouTube. I don't know how this is going to upload on YouTube. I think other platforms upload pretty easier. Alright, so we're going to go ahead and grind through these booster packs. Pouncing Shore Shark. Whenever this creature mutates, you may return target creature and opponent controls to its owner's hand. Little nifty. I've seen a cycling deck at platinum level using this card in the best of 3. They had a deck built around cycling, and we won versus it 2-0, but it's a little nifty. If you're looking for a cheap deck to build and a fun deck to build, you can build a cycling deck with Flourishing Fox, and whenever you cycle another card, put a +1/+1 counter on Flourishing Fox. And oh, by the way, it's 1 to cycle, so it's like that. All right, here we go. Classification, the second one we've opened. So we've opened up a couple rares. So again, so here's again Classification. It enters the battlefield, tap enchanted creature, and then enchanted creature gets +20/+20. I don't think I need to say anything more about that card. Do I? No, I don't. Solid Footing. So this has enchant creature. Enchant creature gets +1/+1. As long as enchanted creature has vigilance, it assigns combat damage equal to its toughness. So this is in I was almost about to say Theros Beyond Death. Wow. I think Theros Beyond Death, I'm going to show you a combo with this card. So in Limited, you'll see this in my draft videos, but if you're like, I don't want to watch an hour and a half of a video to get to a point. Okay, so this card, if you're playing draft in IKORIA, so when everything in the world, I don't know when it's going to happen, so when everything in the world kind of opens up, I don't know when it's going to happen, guys and girls, but, so this card, remember this card, it says, enchant creature gets +1/+1. As long as your creature has vigilance, it assigns combat damage to its toughness rather than its power. So have you ever wondered, like, why are these 1/4 vigilant creatures in IKORIA? Well, if you enchant them, they become 2/5s, but they'll attack like they're 5/5s. And I'll show you, watch. So let's go in the deck section. Let's just grab a white deck so I can just show you the combo. We'll get right back to everything. Let's go with, take this off. Let's go with Vigilance. Let's just go with Vigilance. Okay, so this creature in IKORIA, it's a 1/4 Vigilance. Now, you put Solid Footing on this creature. Remember, if it has Vigilance, it gets +1/+1 and it assigns combat damage to its toughness rather than its power. Yeah, so now it's a 5/2 that attacks like a 5/5. And it blocks like a 2/5. Alright. So, here's our uncommons. Here's our commons. The Brushwag gets +3/+3 and trample to end a turn. And we get another one of those lands that come into play, cycling, tap for a lot. Alright, let's kind of rip through these next 3 packs. Alright, Ivy Elemental enters the battlefield with X +1/+1 counters on it. I think the Serpent's better. The color Serpent, it's a rare. That was printed in, was that Theros Beyond Death, I believe. Right? Okay, Channeled Force. As an additional cost to cast a spell, discard X cards. Target player draws X cards. Channeled Force deals X damage to up to 1 target creature or planeswalker. Alright. What is your favorite color so far in IKORIA? What color do you think this is going to be? This is the 3rd one we've opened. Just to go over it really quickly, it's got Companion. I don't see too many people using it for its Companion ability. Each non-land card in your starting deck shares a card type. So when you look at the word starting deck, I think some people are saying that's interesting how they word that. Here's the thing. So your starting deck, because of all the companion cards in, there's one card in this set where your starting deck has to contain more than 20 cards than an original starting deck. But also, when you're playing in the best of 3, so in Modern, I play with 4 colors, and it's a mill deck. So I play 4-color mill. And a lot of times when I'm playing versus my opponent in games 2 and 3, they'll put their entire sideboard into their deck to prevent them from dying to mill as fast. So that's interesting because they use the word starting deck because people don't realize that from game 1 to game 2, your starting deck can be a lot different. So I think that's the reason why they put it in there. So this card also has, when it enters the battlefield, you choose a card type. Spells you cast of the chosen card type, cost 1 less to cast. I don't think this is a really good card for your companion. I think it's a really good card just to put in your deck and not be a companion. These don't have to be your companion. You can choose. Another thing when you have a companion is you're giving away your colors because you have to show it to your opponent, right? Okay, go over the commons. All right. All right, let's see over here. Go for blood. Target you control fights target you don't control. General Kudro of Dranith. Okay. This just says a card that's going to do a lot and you're going to have to read. Okay, it's a legendary creature, human soldier. Other humans you control get +1/+1. Whenever Kudro or another human enters the battlefield under your control, exile target card from an opponent's graveyard. You can pay 2, sacrifice 2 humans, destroy target creature with 4 or greater. Very good for a very small curved deck. Also good for cards that you can keep on recurring other creatures. So IKORIA is just not for big creatures. You can see that a lot of little creature interactions can go a long way. So this is good for kind of like a weenie deck, right? All right, we are going to be down to our 10 packs. Nice, Essence Scatter's back in the format. Here's Fight is 1. We've already been over that one. This one, I don't think we've gotten. So it's 11/11 trample. That's pretty big. Whenever you cycle Titanith Rex, put a trample counter on target creature you control. So this is an overall good card. In a budget Simic ramp deck, or a budget ramp, excellent card. In a Mythos of illuna. Create a copy of a target creature. So basically, you create a token that's a copy of target permanent. So, a sorcery spark double. If you are playing Teamer colors, so if you're playing blue, so if you spend a red or green with spent to cast a spell, instead create a token that's a copy of that permanent, except that token has, whenever this permanent enters the battlefield, if it's a creature, it fights up to 1 target creature you don't control. I don't know if I like that ability. Because you're going to want to copy creatures that, like Agent of Treachery, and I don't think you want... Agent of Treachery is at 2/3. I don't know if you want to your 2/3 fighting a creature. So I think it's just good, just generally in blue. But again, this can be explored, and I'm sure somebody will come up with it. It will not be me. That somebody will not be me, but I'm sure a streamer will come up with this, and I recommend that they do. I recommend that you come up with this. Tell me in the comment sections, what do you have for this card beyond Spark Double and Quasi Duplicate? That's interesting to know. All right, we're going to wind down the top 10. And you can see my vault progress is going up. I don't know how many cards is IKORIA. It feels like it's a pretty big set. And I just want to stop for a second really quick. I know we're on pack 10, but if you subscribe, I'm also going to be giving away... Well, first off, I'm going to have early access to the next coming set. So that's the reason why I did subscribe. Also, again, I'm going to be doing a physical booster box opening of a mystery booster box. And secondarily, I'm going to be giving away codes to help you build your collection. So again, this is a very chill video. So sit back. Hopefully you've been relaxed. There's a reason why to subscribe. And an Eerie Ultimatum. It's Eerie, and return any number of target cards with different names from your graveyard to the battlefield. Yes, this was used against me in a Fires of Intervention deck, and it was not great. It was good for them, not good for us. Eerie Ultimatum. Yeah, it's a pretty good card. 9 packs to go. 8 more after this. Here's the first one. It's a Chittering Harvester. Mutate 5. That's pretty big mutation there. Whenever this creature mutates, each opponent sacrifices a creature. Alright. Here's our commons. Corpse Churn. Put the top 3 cards of your library into your graveyard. They may return a creature card from your graveyard to your hand. Good for graveyard mechanisms. We open a common wild card, and what's our rare? Let's open up a mythic rare. Emergent Ultimatum. So again, we're opening up a lot of ultimatums. Or, I'm saying ultimatum. Alright, so search your library for up to 3 multicolored cards with different names. An opponent chooses one of those cards. And basically, you grab the other 2, you can pay their mana cost. You can cast them without paying their mana cost. So pretty big. We've already went over that card, so let's move on. I'll get a little bit more detailed with these last packs. I know I've kind of been grazing over things pretty quickly, so let's go back to Adaptive Shimmerer. It's got Flash. When it enters the battlefield, he gets 3+1/+1 counters. Again, very deceptive because that works with that one artifact where you can keep on grabbing counters from creatures and then stacking them onto other creatures. This would be the card where you would insert that into a deck. People are like, what do you do with this card? That's what you do. This is a good card, fully grown. Target creature is +3/+3 until end of turn. So it's kind of like a giant growth. Except you put a trample counter and it costs 2 more. So. Alright. The second Planeswalker we've opened, the second one of these I should say. So again, a really just sound Planeswalker overall. Again, it's +1. Exile top 3 cards of your library. Creatures exiled this way gain. You may cast this card from exile as long as you control Luca Planeswalker. And what's very interesting about that card is it doesn't say until end of turn. It's as long as you control it. So you can cast those cards next turn, the turn after that, as long as you have a Planeswalker that is a Luca. So long as you have this guy out, you can cast those cards many turns later. It's -2 ability, which is a hugely, again, underrated ability. We've already went over this, but again, you exile a creature you control, then reveal a card from the top of your library until you reveal a creature card with a higher converted mana cost. Put that card onto the battlefield. So this just is just crazy. You can grab a little creature deck, like have like a little deck with like Death Touchers, like little 1/1 Death Touchers to block, sacrifice it. Oh, by the way, put some mammoth creatures in your deck, put them on the battlefield. It's really devastating, I would believe. 7 more packs to go. All right. Here's our cards. Okay, Lava Bring Venturer. When it enters the battlefield, choose odd or even. Lava Venturer has protection from each converted mana cost of the chosen value. Yeah, you could do some pretty crazy things with that because on the surface you're like, well, that's a pretty weak card. It's a 3/3 for 3. Don't mistake that. It's 2 colorless, so you can play it in multicolored decks. And you can mutate this card to have like flying, to add more counters on it, and then this just becomes a nightmare to deal with. It's a human soldier, so we've seen the human soldiers. There's an enchantment that gives all your humans +1/+1. There's a creature that, as we opened up, that gives your humans +1/+1. There is a lot of giving all of your humans +1/+1 in the form of creatures and or enchantments. Alright, we are down to 5 booster packs. We have a uncommon wild card, a common wild card, Forbidden Friendship. You create a 1/1 red dinosaur with haste, and a 1/1 human creature token. And of course, we have Primal Empathy. Again, I'll go over it really quickly. At the beginning of your upkeep, you draw a card if you have the most biggest creature on the battlefield. Otherwise, you put a +1/+1 counter on target creature you control. What rare do you think we're going to get? Down to the last 5 packs. I think this is the 3rd one we've gotten, right? So, yeah. Each permanent you control, starting deck has to have a converting cost 2. You don't have to make this your companion. You can bypass. You don't have to make this your companion. Just put it in your deck. And then you just put, during each of one of your turns, you may cast 1 permanent spell with converting cost 2 or less from your graveyard. So, you see how these humans are really kind of getting featured, because you can have a lot of humans that cost 2 or less. They block, they get ramped up with all these things that give them +1/+1, and then you can just keep on reoccurring them onto the battlefield. So it's interesting mechanisms that you could have. We are down to 5 booster packs. I'll open up this one and take another minute break. Necropanther. Whenever this creature mutates, return target creature card with mana cost 3 or less from your grave. So again, we just see another card that you can keep on bringing back creatures onto the battlefield. It's just that black-white, like a little weenie human creature deck can get wildly insane. Then we have Obosh, the Pry Piercer. Prey Piercer, sorry. That'd be a nice Scrabble word. Get some, like, double word, triple letter points there. Alright, so your starting deck it's a Hellion Whore, legendary creature. Alright. So your companion, you don't have to make this your companion. Your starting deck contains only cards with odd converted mana cost and land cards, so restrictive. But here's the upside of the card. If a source you control with an odd converted mana cost, so odd converted mana costs are like Shock, those 1/1 red creatures that everybody plays with red deck wins. You call it Red Rush, I call it red deck wins. Tomato. So if a source you control with an odd converted mana cost deals damage to a permanent or player, so it can be pretty much anything, it deals double the damage to that permanent or player instead. Yeah. This thing is got a place. Alright. Alright guys, let me take a minute break. We'll open up our 4 packs. Hopefully so far this video has been helpful as far as vault progress. We'll snag a bonus, maybe Core 2020 or the Spark. Also, too, while I'm waiting, what you want to do is, here's a code that'll work for you. You go to your store. Go to the store. We'll wait for the server. Here's a code to type in to redeem. I've already done it. Capital Play IKORIA. You type that in your store. You hit enter. You'll get 3 free booster packs. You'll get 3 free booster packs. So please type in your store, Play IKORIA. Okay? We'll get back to the booster packs in a second. Let me just go get something to drink, and then I'll be back. Let's move this to there, and then I'll be back. Hey guys, I'm back. Just had to get something to drink really quick. All right. I'm kind of new to live streaming, so this is going on YouTube and some other platforms, so I have to make sure I have my webcam turned off, so I don't know what's going on, so I don't know how well this is being viewed. All right. So let me just make sure everything's going okay. As it is, as it should be. Okay. Yep. All right, guys, this is what happens when you study medicine in the medical field and you're running off of... I'm running off 3 hours of sleep in 72 hours. But I thought I'd make this video for you guys. Guys, when I make videos, you'll notice that they're at odd times. I don't put these at high viewing times. My videos are all over the place. There's no like set time. Like, they're just all over the place. So I recommend that you subscribe to the channel. Some interesting combos I do want to go over with for Magic the Gathering history for you. I want you to look up these combos, and I'm going to be typing them into the chat section. So let's look at the rare really quickly. Joiner of Forces. Okay, I have to read this card now, right? So this card, all right. So whenever a non-human creature you control attacks, non-human, look at the top 6 cards of your library. You may put a human creature card from among them onto the battlefield, tapped and attacking. That is annoying. It gains indestructible until end of turn. That's also annoying. Put the rest of the cards at the bottom of your library. It's a human wizard. There's a human warrior, but saying non-human. So it is going to have some dichotomy usage. As in other words, it's a human, but to use its ability, you need a non-human. So would not be used in a human's deck, but is a human in itself. Still a good card. Certainly a good card. All right, so as we steer on to that, I do want to step inside the chat. And I do want to put in the chat. So let's see here. We're going to go trade Wind Rider and Gilded Drake. So I put in... So what I did is I put in, as you can see in the comment section, I put in Trade Wind Rider and Gilded Drake. That's from the Tempest block and Urza Saga block in the 1990s. Look up those cards. Those are some fun little interactions. And oh, by the way, here's another fun little card that I'm going to be putting in there. It's going to be, let's see here. It's called Awakening. Yeah, look up those combos and tell me that you don't... They're pretty good. Okay, so we are going to be ripping into pack number 3. Well, it's ripping into pack number 3. We have 3 packs left. And I don't know if I'm going to have a voice left after that. So again, here's the little Vulpikeet. Again, you can mutate for 3. Whenever this creature mutates, put a +1/+1 counter. So you can give a creature flying and a +1/+1 counter. So if you're like, what would I do with like some of these creatures? Give them +1/+1 counters and flying. Mutate them. And is this our... Did we get a playset of these? Did we? Did we get a playset of these? Huh. We are down to 2 booster packs. Alright. So what cards have we not pulled out of IKORIA? For these last packs, I'm kind of going to spend a little time on this right here so that you can kind of really just see cards for limited play. Whirlwind of Thought. Whenever you cast a non-creature spell, draw a card. Okay. Yeah, it's... You know, this might have more of a place in a Pioneer format where you can bring stuff out a lot quicker. Like if you have Land of War Elves in your... Like, something that you can bring out a lot faster. Target creature is +2/+0 and gains indestructible till end of turn. Alright, and we are on our final pack. Pack number 50. What a ride it's been. So far, to recap, just alone. So watch the start of the video, and now look at how many wild cards we have. Through the rewards, and then the ones that we're opening up within the booster packs. Do you see how this is a quick way to build your MTG collection without drafting? See how it's really good? Yeah. So you can kind of see that kind of happen and come to fruition there. So if my math is correct, we've gotten a total of 4 rare wild cards and 2 mythic rare wild cards just opening up 50 booster packs. Then on top of it, we got all the rewards. So I'm running off a little sleep here, but according to my calculations, well, let me just do this math really quickly. Let's just do this math really quick. So, for opening up 50 booster packs, we should have received 8 additional rare wild cards and 1 more mythic. So far, we should have, for opening up 50 booster packs, 12 rare wild cards that we've opened, in 3 mythic rare wild cards. So, if you were to open this, and we haven't seen our rare, on top of all the cards we've gotten, you have gotten, in rewards and in pack openings, 12 rare wild cards. You can get any 12 rares that are non-mythic in MTG Arena printing. Or digital upload, I should say. And then you can get, then you would have got 3 mythic rare wild cards. How's that for building your collection on top of the cards that we've opened? And then we got a lot of uncommons and commons. If that serves me correctly. Alright. And then we get an Inspired. Target creature gains 5 life. Deals 5 damage to any target. Then you draw 5 cards. Okay, guys, so you tell me, was it worth spending $50 on MTG Arena on the pre-release? You gotta tell me. I'm not gonna give you the answer because, quite frankly, I'm just gonna present you the information and then you can decide for yourself. Yeah. All right, so we're gonna go through a little time vault here. Let's see here. Do people remember Core 2020? Remember this? You guys remember these cards? Felt like a long time ago, didn't it? Yep. What would be our rare here? It's just... Okay. Alright, so we get another rare wild card. That's great. That is fantastic. crazy fantastic. All right. We are going to go ahead and open up a War of the Spark. Listen to that music. So intense. Here's the War of the Spark, if you guys remember this one. I remember drafting with these. Blast Zone. All right. Why not? Notice that Vol progress going up. This is a set that has Hydroid Crosses in it, but we already have a playset of them, so it doesn't matter. N-Rays Forerunners. We use this in Simic Rams. It's got Vigilance, it's got Haste, it's got Trample. When it enters the battlefield, other creatures you control get +2/+2 and gain Vigilance and Trample to end. Basically, you're just saying to your opponent, the game's over. And then lastly, Guilds of Revetica. This set has like Assassin's Trophy in it, has all that other type of stuff in it. So where are we at right here? Okay. Gosh, I remember these. Defender. As long as you cast an instant or sorcery spell, it can attack as though it didn't have Defender. Wow. Gain control of target creature with power 2 or less, Serval 3, then return a creature card from your graveyard to the battlefield. So, this card kind of actually feeds into IKORIA quite a bit. Dump a big creature, just grab it right out of your graveyard, put it smack dab on that battlefield. Alright, and then we'll do one M20, and that will be it. Alright. Growth Cycle. Creature gets plus... This was a fantastic card. If you had multiple copies of these, target creature gets +3/+3 until end of turn. And it gets an additional +2/+2 until end of turn for each card named Growth Cycle in the graveyard. So it's like, you have one of these in the graveyard, creature gets +5/+5. You have two of these in the graveyard, creature gets +7/+7. You have three... It's just... The card gets insane. Yeah. Remember, if you look back in our decks, we had a deck that went 10-2. It's a black and white deck, and it was a life gain deck. It had Bloodthirsty Airlist in it. Flying, whenever you gain life, put a +1/+1 counter on Bloodthirsty Airlist. Go check that out. Alright. And Leyland of Anticipation, pretty much. It's like the Leylands of... So, if Leyland of Anticipation is your opening hand, you may begin the game with it on the battlefield. You may cast spells as though they had flash. So a pretty big card that has lasted through the dawn of time. I guess we'll crack open one more, and that'll be it. I'm like a crack addict with packs. Alright, we have Brineborn Cutthroat, Iron Root Warlord. Here we go. The M20's been paying off. We've gotten a rare wild card. We've gotten a Safara, Skyblade. So you may pay 1 and tap 4 untapped creatures you control with flying rather than pay this cost, and other creatures you control. So basically, you tap 4 flyers and pay 1 white, and this comes out, and it's a 7/7 flying lifelink, and then other creatures you control with flying have indestructible. It's a pretty good card. So on that note, I think I'll be ending this. But hopefully this video was helpful. Hopefully it was insightful. I'll see how it uploads, but hopefully this has been, it's been a helpful video to help build your collection, and also opening up booster packs. Now we're gonna have fun building the decks, playing with them, rolling into May. We're gonna have some fun. All right, guys. Until next time, I will see you then, and I will talk to you soon. And again, feel free to subscribe to get all the bonuses.